Hey, how's it going, brothers and sisters? If you clicked on this video, most likely this is something that you've been struggling with. Perhaps you also wanted to see a story of how God has worked in someone's life and delivered them from this. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Utah. Still living here. Born in 93 in the Provo Hospital. I was raised as a Mormon fundamentalist. Some of you may be familiar with Mormonism. I'm now a born again Christian. By the grace of God, I've been saved by grace and I'm now worshiping the true God in spirit and truth. Anyway, I don't want to drag this video for too long. I will say that I have been wanting to get this video on for a while. I know that it could be a great blessing for a lot of people, and yeah, I've just known that it's something that I should have posted a long time ago in the public. I want to get right to it. So when I first got convicted of this sin, this was October of 2018. Before that, this has been a part of my lifestyle, my whole life, really, since I was little. I never really thought that it was wrong. I certainly didn't think that it was sinful. And this was interesting. So this one particular day, I was praying in my bedroom, and I asked God to show me if there was anything that I needed to improve in my Christian journey, or any sin that might have been in my life that I needed to work on and get out of my life. Well, shortly after that, I was surfing online, and there's this YouTuber that I was following at the time. I came across a video of theirs. It was actually a testimony of how God convicted them of the same sin issue. And it was interesting because before this, like I said, I never really thought this was a problem. I didn't really think that God had a problem with it. Well, there were other times that I came across content that was saying that this was sinful and wrong, and I always would just brush it off, be like, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. It's funny because I think a lot of that was my flesh, my sin nature telling me that I just wanted to stay in the sin. And yeah, anyway, but this particular time I watched this video, it was like God had a hammer and he just hit me right in my spirit and convicted me. And I knew that he was speaking to me and showed me that this is wrong and I needed to stop, especially as a follower of Christ. So at this time, I was praying hard, asking God to deliver me. I was trying to practice a lot of self-control and avoid the lust of my eyes, the lust of my flesh. It seemed like, I think it was a few weeks from the time I was convicted to the time I actually got deliverance. So this is where the miracle kind of came in my life. At this time in my Christian journey, I was familiar with fasting. I never really practiced it much prior to this time. I also was kind of going through scriptures, and there's this story in the Gospels that's found in Mark and Matthew. I want to read it. This was after the transfiguration of Jesus. It mentions something about fasting. So, chapter 17 of Matthew, I'll start reading in verse 19. says, "Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, 'Why could not we cast him out?'" I probably should mention this was after Jesus came down the mountain after he was transfigured, and there was these disciples of his that were trying to cast out a demon from someone, and they couldn't. They asked him why they couldn't cast him out. Verse 20, "And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting." I should mention this is the King James Version, if you couldn't tell. And I want to focus on verse 21, where it says, "This kind goes not out but by prayer and fasting." So during this time in my life, throughout this whole episode, I was reading a lot of scriptures, praying, and in light of my sin struggle, I had come to conclude that with my sin struggle, there was much spiritual warfare. I came to realize that there's all kinds of sin struggles we have that I believe there's much of a spiritual battle there that wants to keep you in that sin and keep you stuck in that struggle. So, I came to believe that for me, yes, there was demonic warfare that I need deliverance from. Well, so I tried fasting. This one particular day, I tried it for about it wasn't very long, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. And then I told myself, you know what, maybe this is silly. Maybe I should just keep trying to have self-control and, I told myself that I needed to just do this on my own. Well, I clearly underestimated the power of fasting, because the next day, the next several days, the next weeks, I was at that point where I looked back and realized, ever since I first started fasting, just that one day that I did it for an hour or so, not very long at all, I haven't had an urge to go back and masturbate. It was like God had completely just removed this urge out of me. And like I said, I clearly underestimated the power of fasting, because it seems very evident in the scriptures that it is a spiritual weapon that we have as believers against the dark side. And I believe we can use that for any kind of sin struggle. So I would just like to invite anyone who's struggling with this to try it out for yourself. Again, this is my story of how God has worked through me with this, and yeah, like I said, I want to invite anyone to try it out, and let me know how it goes. Let me know how it works out for you. I want to leave my email in the description. Sorry. That you could contact me with any comments or questions you have, or anything like that. Like I said, this was pretty miraculous for me. I've never experienced any kind of deliverance like this before in my life. So I will say that, because it's been a few years now since I was first convicted and delivered. Since then, there has been a few times that you know, temptation has come at my doorstep, and it's gonna come at everyone. I mean, as long as you're in this body and as long as you're in this world in its fallen state right now, there's gonna be temptation. Um, and there has been times that I've I've kind of tripped up and fallen into the sin, but I've just kept fasting again and praying, and I've been delivered every time. And I'm not saying that you need to fast for like a long time. Like I said, I only did it for like a little bit, and it proved to be very successful for me. Um, I will say though that it seemed more effective for me when I would fast from both food and water. Not for very long, and I know there's some people that have medical or physical conditions where they can't refrain from nourishment and water for too long. But go ahead and try it, and let me know how it works for you. Again, this is my story, and yeah, I also want to make another video of kind of where I'm at now and kind of where God's brought me, and yeah, the progress that I've made. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope this is a blessing for you. God bless.